The Dr. Ray Podcast is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio. Here's today's monologue with Dr. Ray Guarendi.
It used to be that the shrink types, the developmental people types, the social work types, the mental health types, the doctor types, they made parents feel bad and terrible when they miscalculated in behavior. Well, now the miscalculation can be in the way you say it. You're not allowed to say it a certain way. Or if you do say it a certain way, there's going to be psychological damage. Or if you don't say it this way, then you're missing out on your child's peak well-being. When a child is upset, most parents reach for the same question. Now, I'm quoting this article. Instinctively. Kid's upset. What do you say? What's wrong? No. Oh, you people. You're so untrained. Back to quoting the article. It's well-intentioned, and it comes from care. Now, did you ever notice these articles do this? They acknowledge, you mean well. Okay, you mean well, you untrained stumble bum of a parent. You mean well. But let me tell you why you're wrong. And then this guy says, but after years of teaching conscious parenting and studying over 200 kids. Well, that's not very many kids, okay? You want how many kids I've studied in my time at this? It's got to be thousands. I've seen how often that question does the opposite of what parents hope. See, there you go. When you ask a kid what's wrong, you're messing him up. Instead of opening children up, it can shut them down. Hey, how many of you, when you've asked your kids what's wrong, they just looked at you and said, nothing. Now, we're not talking spouses here. You know that as well as I do in a marriage. What's wrong? Nothing. I'm fine. Well, you don't look happy. I'm fine. Well, something's got to be wrong. Well, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. No, this is not marriage. It's a kid. But he goes on. Emotional intelligence develops when children feel safe enough to reflect. Without that foundation, here it is. Here's why you're screwing it up. Even the most caring questions can feel overwhelming in the moment. One sentence reliably helps children pause, reflect, and communicate more openly. Tell me what feels hard right now. Now, do I have a problem with that sentence? No, of course not. That's a great sentence. Tell me what's bugging you right now. It's kind of it's a paraphrase of what's wrong. Have you noticed that? Tell me what feels hard right now. Now, if that doesn't sound a bit like what's wrong, I don't know. But nevertheless, there is the nuance in the phrase that if you say what's wrong, you're going to mess your kid up. But if you say this, then you're going to give your kid emotional intelligence. Now, where's my problem with all this? If you want to use that phrase, go ahead. You don't want to say what's wrong? That's fine. That's your business. If you want to say, tell me what feels hard right now, go ahead. The problem I have is when you get all these shrink types saying, if you don't do it this way, let me tell you what you're risking here. And let me tell you how your kid's going to fall short. He goes on. This magic phrase works because it matches how children actually experience emotions in real life. Rather than pushing for clarity or explanations, it creates the conditions where insight can emerge naturally. I don't know why insight can't emerge naturally when you say what's wrong. You got to think about it, right? I'm still struggling to understand the difference. And then he gives a number of reasons. I don't have time to get into all of them. He says it reduces defensiveness. I don't understand how you're making a kid defensive by saying what's wrong. What's wrong, son? I'm going to be I don't want to tell you what's wrong. Maybe I don't want to tell you what's hard right now either. During meltdowns, after school emotional releases, or moments of sudden irritability, children are already on edge. Well, yeah, they're upset. Got that. The word hard, and he puts that in quotes, feels human and non-threatening. Well, I could see a lot of experts saying you don't use wrong because that's a value word. You ever notice that? You don't say wrong. You don't say right. You don't say good. You don't say bad. That's value language. Oh, man, I got that stuff down my throat. And I'd raise my hand in class and go, what's wrong with this? I'm going to go to confession. Bless me, Father, for I did unacceptable things. Bless me, Father, for I was inappropriate. All right. The word hard signals to your child that they aren't. See, here's another thing. Notice the switch of pronouns. It signals to your child. Now, they're not going to say that he isn't in trouble because, well, of course, it's masculine. It's patriarchal. It signals to your child that they aren't in trouble and don't need to justify their feelings. I don't understand. I'm still confused. How does what's wrong, son, make somebody justify their feelings? I mean, I suppose, now, in defense of this article, he says he studied 200 kids, and somehow, some way, he's concluded, I don't know how he would do that, I don't know how you would actually study that in a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, but he's concluded that asking a child what is hard for you right now is so much better than saying what's wrong. Okay, this is, I've heard this before from so many expert types. Before problem solving, before advice, before correction, in other words, you ain't supposed to do any of that stuff. This phrase tells a child, I can handle what you're feeling. I don't know how it does that. If you ask a child, tell me what's hard for you right now, and he says, yeah, I don't like the way my sister is chewing her food, so I hit her in the head. Is that hard for you right now that your sister is chewing that way? Yes. Okay. What's wrong? Well, I don't like the way my sister's chewing her food. Oh. So what might be an option? Bottom line is this. No wonder parents are so insecure and neurotic and unsure of themselves, because there is a tsunami of these kinds of articles basically telling you, be careful how you talk. And you grandparents, you better just shut your mouth, because when your young kids are trying to do all this stuff, your young adults raising their 3 and 5 and 6-year-old, and you are thinking, why are they talking this way? Why don't they stop him from punching the wall? I'm really sensing a lot of frustration. What's hard for you right now? Is it the wall? Because we have softer walls. I know I'm being sarcastic. Nevertheless, I just don't like what's happening to parents. But I will tell you this, though. These kinds of articles are good for my business. Oh, yeah. I get all kinds of nice people, good people. As the article would say, well-attentioned people, but doing it all wrong. Coming to my office, not enjoying their kid. Why? Because they've been overthinking this so bad.
More of Dr. Ray's Manologues can be found on his website, drray.com. Manologues, as well as full-length programs that the doctor is in, can be heard at AveMariaRadio.net and EWTN.com/radio.